Okay, so this is going to be my hands-on lab for the introduction to AWS IAM. From what I read and learned, AWS Identity and Access Management, which is IAM, is a web server that enables AWS customers to manage users and user permissions in AWS. So with IAM, I can centrally manage user security credentials such as access keys and permissions that control which AWS resources users can access. So my task one is going to be explore and the users and groups. So in this task, I will explore the users and groups that have already been created for me in IAM. So users. So, excuse me, we'll see the following users or IAM users is going to be user 1, 2, and 3. Um, I assume that we don't have to worry about that one. Um, so we're going to choose the link for user 1. The permissions tab will be displayed, which we do see here. I'm just going to close that. And this will basically bring me to a summary page for user 1, and we should notice that user 1 does not have any permissions, but that's what we're here to do. So we're going to choose groups, and user 1 is also not a member of any groups, and we can also see in security credentials um, that user 1 is assigned a console password. Um, hmm. um, in the navigation pane, it's to choose user groups. So these are our user groups that we have, which is the same as the ones on the instructions. So it wants us to choose EC2 support group. Be sure to not mess that up. The permissions tab. So I learned that this group has a managed policy associated with it, which is called Amazon EC2 read-only access. So managed policies, um, right here, they're pre-built policies, whether that be by AWS or by admissions, that can be attached to an IAM user and groups. So I learned that when the policy is updated, the changes to the policy are immediately applied against all the users and groups that are attached to that policy, which I could see how if you were a business owner or something like that, that would be really helpful. So you don't have to do all that stuff manually, but it told me to choose the plus icon here to view the details. These are the details. These are the deets. Um, the instructions said to note that a policy defines what actions are allowed or denied for specific AWS resources, and this policy is granting permission to list and describe information about EC2, elastic load balancing, CloudWatch, and auto scaling, and this ability to view resources, but not to modify them. So it is ideal for assigning to a support role. And then we'll just close that. Um, Go back to user groups. We'll do 3C support. Permissions tab. And similarly, just some information about this one as well. So this group is slightly different from the other two because instead of a managed policy, it has an inline policy. Interesting. Interesting. Anyways, um, which is a policy assigned to just one user or group. Inline policies are typically used to apply permissions of one-off situations. So it wanted us to also choose the plus sign here and see the details. Um, Interesting code. A loop, I see. Um, and this policy grants permission to view, um, describe information about Amazon EC2, and also the ability to start and stop instances. And we'll just hide those policies there. I think it really just wanted me to like go over and see these policies and how some of them are different than each other. Um, and so it gave me a business scenario and it said, for the remainder of this lab, I will work with these users and groups to enable permissions supporting the following business scenario. My company is growing and its use of Amazon Web Services and is using many Amazon EC2 instances and a great deal of Amazon S3 storage. I wish to give access to new staff depending upon their job functions. So task 2 will be to add users to groups. Um, and I guess I recently hired user 1 into a role where they will provide support for Amazon S3. So user 1 for Amazon S3 support. I will add them to the S3 support group so that they inherit the necessary permissions via the attached Amazon S3 read-only access policy that we see here, right there. And it told me also to ignore the not authorized errors that will appear during this task. So step 1 is to add user to the S3 support group. So in the left panel, we'll go back to user groups, the S3 support link, which I was already in. Choose users, add user. There you go. Okay. It said that I should see that user 1 had been added to a group. Oh, it's added to this group. I guess we can refresh. Refresh. There we go. So it worked. Um, so now I'm going to add user 2 to the EC2 one. So similar to that one, I'll go to user groups. This is going to be EC2 support. And this is going to be user 2. Whoa. Ah. Okay, and then user 3 to admin. Okay, so if I go back to the users panel, I should see that all of them have been added. Refresh, refresh. Come on. Perfect. All right. So basically we're going to move on to task 3, which is sign in and test users. In this task, I will test the permission of each IAM user. So here, sign in URL for IAM users. And this account link is deployed on the right. Here we are. it wanted me to copy that to a text editor. I'm gonna be honest, I am not even really sure I know what that is, but okay. And um, wants me to open a private window. Crazy. Okay, sorry, I just had to sneeze. So apparently I'm going to paste this into my private window. Okay. Next I will sign in as user one who has been hired as my Amazon 3 storage support staff. So it gives me the username. Oh my gosh. Sorry. No. Hold on. I think oh my gosh, okay. I got one thing wrong. Um, okay, so I signed in and it said in the search box to the right of services, search for and choose S3. Oh my gosh, get out. Um, okay. So since my user is part of the S3 support group and I am, they have permission to view all the list of the Amazon S3 buckets and the contents. So that's what we see here. We only have one, but that's okay. Um, and it was noted that the bucket does not contain any objects, but now I shall test whether they have access to the Amazon EC2. So it wants me to see if I could do that. So EC2 instances. Yeah, and then it says I'm not authorized, which I'm not, so it worked. And this is because the user has not been granted any permission to access Amazon EC2. So basically, it wants me to try again as user 2 who had been hired for the EC2 support. So um, I don't really know how to log out of this. I think I have to close and then paste that. Oh, no. And we can see that we do have access to instances here because I have a read-only permissions. However, I won't be able to make any changes. It's just a read-only one. So, um, oh, it says I don't have any in this region. Mm, it did say that also in the I don't know, the instructions. Maybe it will show now some. Okay, yeah, so we could see instances now since we changed the region to the correct one. Um, so it wanted me to select